Hello, About Earth Tribe. How's everyone doing? Today I have a very special couple as guests, Pete and Roxy from Australia. They started Awakening Education, and it's my absolute joy to have them here today. Welcome, Pete and Roxy.
Hello.
Hi, great to be here.
How are you guys doing?
Yeah, really good. Thank you very much. It's nice to meet you and connect with you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to have some Australians on the channel. As I mentioned to you,
Yep.
I've got a brother not too far from you, so I always am very interested to hear what's happening in Australia um, because of him. And you guys on the Sunshine Coast, right?
Yep, that's right. So if he's
Lovely,
in Brisbane, we're about an hour north of Brisbane. Yeah.
very nice. So tell us a bit about your story, how you got to be in the space that you are. I love that you are doing it together, by the way.
Makes it easier.
It makes it
Can
easier.
imagine, yeah.
It brings new meaning to that term. It's not you, it's me. When you're going through an awakening, when you're going through your stuff.
Yeah.
Remember the times Roxy should be crying or processing an emotion or working through something. And I used to walk in and I'm like, what's wrong? And she goes, oh, I'm just working through some childhood stuff here. And then I go, okay, so you don't need me to do anything. No. And I didn't do anything wrong. No, just leave me. I'll be fine. Okay, got it. Out I'd go.
So when did this
Because not
journey
there.
start?
Yeah. There you
Yeah.
go now. You tell the start of all that.
Yeah, well, we used to be in business and we came to a point where we were going, there's got to be more. There's got to be more for us. Our cup was not full. And we sold a couple of businesses and we had some time off. We didn't know the reason or where the divine was moving us to. But in that year off, we got introduced to Costa Rica and the word awakening, spiritual awakening, which was we were very asleep in our sleepy slumber before that and in the 3D business matrix world. And, high achievers and corporate, looking after lots of clients and all of
Same
that,
here.
having the kids. Yeah. And then our brother Dan, Pete's brother, went over to Costa Rica. One night he fell asleep on the tugboats and he was feeling this way as well and said, show me a sign. And when he woke up in the morning on his phone was ayahuasca, Costa Rica at Rhythmia Life Advancement Center. It's a retreat center. And he said, I'm going over to Costa Rica. And we're like, whoa. So he went, came back, told us all about it. And Pete and I looked at each other and went, wow, we have to go. So we got over there and did medicine, and it opened up our hearts and it helped us heal our childhood trauma. And we had no idea what was really going on at the time. And we knew, okay, this is an awakening. We're having an awakening. And we realized, more and more as we progressed in our healing journey that we were actually here for a mission. There was a deeper purpose. And on the plane home from Costa Rica, because we got to go over together, the brother Dan looked after the kids. We went there and back in 10 days. And just before all this, virus and stuff flooded the
Just in
world, we got
time.
there and back just in
Just in
time.
Oh,
time.
And Awakening Education was born on the way home on the
wow.
plane, basically. And we were like, wow, what the hell? Like our life just did a full 360. And so, yeah, that brought us to Awakening Education. We started, going even more deeper into ourselves and doing the healing. The more healing and elevation of our frequency we did, the more knowledge and wisdom, our vibration went up and we were able to connect into galactic consciousness. And the Palladians, we started getting drop-ins from ETs in meditations, and we were going, oh my God, is this right? I thought we were just going to be consciousness teachers. And then, we went through that whole thing of ET's real? Like, we were very asleep and
Mm,
had no idea about all this stuff. And
wow.
so Pete's going, are you sure, Roxy? Are you sure, about the Palladians and this UFO that I was connecting to, getting messages telepathically? And he goes, what you said, this is not going anywhere. And this is not going anywhere. We're not going public with this anywhere because, of course, we're changing so much at this point, right? We're dropping the old identity and we're moving into these new people and the family and friends. And they're just looking at us going, whoa, what are they doing? But we had each other, didn't we? We had each other. And yeah, that's basically the awakening story.
Wow. Was that difficult for you to kind of make that shift and to get everyone around you to adjust to the new you? I mean, usually people think we're crazy, right, when we go through this phase.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple of levels to it, I think. There's this level within yourself where when you change, it's like you can't go back.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
our business experience was in insurance. The thought of doing that after, going through this profound experience, I was like allergic to it. It was like, I just can't wait to get out of that. It's just so unaligned with now what is important to me that it was actually really easy to, and all of the people in that insurance world, God bless them, they wouldn't have been able to handle this at all. So it was like, see ya, goodbye, glad to be out of there. That wasn't so hard. But the friends and family, it was. Like, we noticed we stopped getting invitations to the barbecues,
Yeah, that happens.
Things went quiet, if you know what I mean. And I just think for some people, it was just way too out there.
Yeah.
And then there's the ones who are silently watching, who start coming out of the corners, out of the darkness, going, I've been watching some of your posts and seeing some of the things you guys are in. We need to catch up.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how when you have the courage to speak, and this is even more recently, and to just own your truth. For the ones who aren't ready, then, that's their soul journey and that's fine. But it's amazing how many are like silently interested in this.
Yeah.
And when we start speaking about it, they go, oh my gosh, I used to have an imaginary friend when I was a little kid and I'm sure it was an ET or a Pleiadian or a this or a that. And we have this great conversation. So the social interactions and the conversations now are so much more about concepts and ideas and things of meaning rather than the old realm. And we realized all of those old dinner parties and barbecues and things we used to go to, it was meaningless chit chat for 99% of the time.
Yeah. And you actually can't do it anymore. It's like you can't pretend even.
No, we're done.
But we're grateful for the journey and the friendships. There's no issues. It's just there's no closeness in that realm anymore. And what we've found is the vibration after we're moving up in vibration, because there's a period there where you're up, you're down, you're up, you're down, you're crying in the bedroom, you're feeling frustrated, all of these emotions, and you're healing. You're moving so fast in elevation, and we all have in this realm over the last couple of years with everything that's been happening on the planet. And you come to this resonance, you kind of get to this point where you stop and you ground in and you integrate. There's no more elevating movement anymore. There's slow little integrations, but you find your level and you hold stable. And that's when the new friends come in, the new people that are on your radio station, the ones that talk your language. And we've got these beautiful friends around us now that are all conscious, all awake and wanting to have these conversations around us that support us and we support them. And that's this energetic exchange that's just so deep, because this consciousness is a deep thing. It's not shallow. This is
real.
Deep.
All the frivolousness and the fakeness kind of drops away, and you get to a point where you can't pretend anymore, and you actually can't stand being in that environment anymore. I mean, I had the same thing. It's like I couldn't do that 3D job anymore. It just, the thought of it was just, I couldn't stand it. So I so resonate with what you're saying. And obviously I see you started your channel about 2.5 years ago. Well, yeah, just before obviously you came back. So you've had a
Yeah.
little bit of time to adjust. I mean, mine was kind of a little bit of a slow burn, and then I started the channel like I think 3-4 months ago, and kind of just publicly speak, which is also very intimidating, as I'm sure you know. But we've got to do this. We feel like we have to contribute to the global awakening, and we've got to do our bit, however small or big that may be. And even those friends that start asking questions quietly, you feel like, wow, you're making them think and you're making them curious. And that is the beginning of their awakening. And that's quite rewarding as well.
It is. It is. It's beautiful when someone goes, "Hey, can we catch up?" And you're like, "Yes." It's like such an exciting celebration, like seeing a soul have this awakening. Pete and I were talking about this the other night, because we see so many souls having this awakening now, and it's
Yeah.
like a baby's being born. It's so precious, isn't it? It's like the joy that comes to us now, seeing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just amazing.
Wow, amazing. So tell us more about what you guys do, what it is that you offer within Awakening Education.
The main point of Awakening Education now versus when it started, and continues, is to talk about the evolution of consciousness and how consciousness is growing. It's alive. It's real time. So while we can learn so much from the wisdom of the old, that old saying, "There's nothing new under the sun." There's not really, yet it's alive, so it does grow and it does evolve. And we've gone from, I think, coaching and supporting people through their spiritual awakening journey to now really helping them to heal, to connect better to higher levels of consciousness, to their guides, to their higher self, to the Pleiadians, the Arcturians, or other factions of the Galactic Federation that they might feel naturally connected to, and then work with them using the technologies that are on the ship and these high level consciousnesses to heal any densities, blocks, or imperfections that may exist within the person physically, emotionally, and mentally, so that that spiritual connection to source and the divine can be magnified. So a lot of people often come along and they say, "I want to improve my connection. I'm awake. I'm on the journey. I see the falseness for what it is. I can't stand the matrix." All of these things that we've been talking about so far, it's like, but I really feel I'm doing my best with my meditations. I'm going, I'm doing everything I think I can do, but I'd love to be able to connect better. And what we've found is that often there can be, as you describe them, root causes, causal emotions that have often happened in our childhood, but they can often happen when we're older. And these significant emotional traumas and blocks that you hear about, you read about in the books, everyone knows they've got them. It's pretty much one of those things that you don't want to talk about. If you've got things like that, then you've got to work on it. Okay. Once you're an open book and you can talk about anything, in fact, once you realize that the accident or the abuse or the teasing or the shaming or whatever it was that happened to you in your childhood was actually your biggest teacher, your biggest gift. Once you can see the infinite creator in everything, all of a sudden it's a memory without any emotion attached to it. So you've worked through that. But if you don't want to go there, if you want to leave it, then you've probably got an issue there. There's probably a knot. So these karmic knots play out, right, in people. And if you've ever known someone who's always having a relationship issue or a health issue or a financial issue, the person might always get ripped off or always feel like they can't trust their partner, or there's issues in the relationship, or it may be that there's always things wrong with their physical body constantly. And it's beyond bad luck. There is a pattern there. We all hear about the law of attraction, and yeah, the law of attraction is great. It can, bring along all sorts of great things when people are focused on a goal. But really, what the law of attraction is also showing people is unhealed parts of themselves over and over and over again, giving you opportunities to work through it and grow as a soul. Because if you don't work through it, guess what happens when you go to the next relationship? Probably the same thing. Because in this case, it's not them, it's you, right? Same thing. That you got something going on there, and that's why we keep choosing these sorts of people.
Yeah.
So giving the person clarity on where they are, helping them to heal, and then to connect in better is where awakening education is at now. And as you talked about, how we can best serve and help during this time of awakening is for ourselves. We must be the highest vibrational expression of ourselves in our day-to-day life. We need to be the light in the lineup at the bank, in the grocery store, when you're doing your emails, when someone annoying puts you on hold, or you're dealing with a low vibe 3D family member or something like that. This is actually where our opportunity to shine is. Sometimes people think, oh my goodness, when I'm enlightened, I'll just sit under a tree and I'll meditate all day, and the radiation that I give off will balance off the planet. And I mean, that's beautiful in a concept, but day to day, we're doing these. If you've ever found yourself frustrated by 3D life and feeling like that's taking you away from what you really should be doing, then we need to just go to the next level and go, I need to actually incorporate that state of being all of the time. Not just when I'm meditating or connecting or on retreat or whatever at the health spa, blissed out. I mean, yes, that's great. But if you can be that all of the time, all of a sudden, we're really starting to have that ripple effect. So what we've found is that the higher realms are really guiding us towards our mission. A lot of the light workers, like yourself, someone who is a light worker, a way shower, who is spreading this information, who's totally moved from service to self into service to others and opening the heart, getting out of the brain into the heart. All of a sudden, what the role is to support all of these newly awakened souls, to help them as they go through their awakening, because we've done it before. The light workers, according to Dolores Cannon, I love her quote on your website from her, we're second wave souls. We're the volunteers who have come in here to be of assistance right now on this planet. So we've come online first, and the purpose is when the great awakening happens, and all of these newer souls who are going to awaken for the first time have to make sense of all of this. Our role is to assist them and to help them to ascend and to elevate.
Laying the groundwork, laying out the blanket so they can softly step onto the blanket.
Got it. I love that. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. You said so many things that resonates with me, and it's true. If somebody doesn't address those old wounds, you can't actually, if you don't heal them, you can't move to the next level. So we've got to face them, and we're so used to running away, right? It's like, I listened, Roxy, also to another, I think it was one of your first, where you were saying you were so intimidated by going on camera, and then you had this whole breakdown, and you had to go really deep. And I love what you're saying, because that's so true, and we've got to go into it. We've so been brainwashed to escape it and to suppress it and to get busy with something else and be distracted, and it's exactly what we shouldn't be doing, because then you can go deeper.
That's right.
So tell me, most of what you do, is it in person? Do you do some Zoom sessions, or what format do you offer?
So right now we are doing Zoom energy healing one-on-one sessions and classes. So our goal, our mission is to help bridge the gap between this planet and the galactic consciousness. But the first phase of that mission is to raise a vibration of as many light workers as we can to elevate the planet and Pachamama, right, for the Great Awakening. then that will be placed. That foundation will be built, and then we can start to build the walls and the roof of this mission. Okay. The second phase of the mission is connecting with those highly elevated souls that are ready and seeing into the galactic, into extraterrestrials, realizing they're our brothers and sisters from the stars. We've traveled with them before. They're our star family, our soul family, our oversoul family. So that was very powerful at the very beginning of our awakening while we were doing the deep work. You know, we did a lot of healing work to get to this elevated space in order to be able to connect to these beings. And when we're channeling in these sessions, you know, if you're not healed, the message can get distorted for the person. So it's very important and delicate work that when we're connecting to these higher frequencies, that it's clean, crisp energy and precise, because it's going to help the person so much more deeply when it is. So what we do is we connect our soul, our heart, to the other person on the other end of the computer like this, and we connect in on the multidimensional level. We connect into their light body, their soul, and we call all through the guides, the divine, the infinite creator, and the high realms, the ascended masters, the archangels, and the galactic team. We call through support and protection for the journey into the galactic. We travel through a stargate energetically, remote viewing our consciousness with their light body, and we move into the Galactic Federation ship. The ship is called the Pleiades because it originated from the Pleiades star system, and it is involved with the Ashtar Command. There are other intergalactic extraterrestrials that travel in and out of the ship regularly. There's a whole half of the ship that is like the resort and rooms for people to stay and for beings to stay. And it's a large ship. It's the size of a football field. It's sitting off orbit off this planet. It's being cloaked at this time in order to be able to be here and be of guidance. This is one of many ships around the planet at this point in time of this awakening. They have come because when you move out of service to self into service to others, you have to help the other star systems if there's an energetic anchor, which we are at this point in time in this star system on this side of the galaxy. So we're in the Milky Way galaxy. A lot of us souls heard the call of Pachamama, and she sent out a vibrational pulse through the universe many years ago, and we all came and incarnated into this human vessel for this lifetime to be ground crew. The other volunteers were the sky crew. That's the ships, that's the beings on the ships. Okay. So when we would raise our vibration and have this spontaneous awakening, they would be there, right? And that's why they kept popping in as soon as we did some healing work. We had no idea before this, right? And they're probably patiently waiting up there going, all right, surely they should be waking up soon and we could start doing this mission, you know? So we got up to the ship and we were connecting with a few Palladian beings and Octarian beings, and they're fifth dimensional ones that we are working with closely. There are other high frequency beings that are coming into sessions. So we get the person up into this room called the vibration room with advanced technologies. And the whole point of it is a higher frequency, so we can see with our pineal and heart-brain coherence into their field. And when we view in their field, we can see the density or where we need to go, where the subconscious program, the false belief lays in their subconscious mind. And from that root cause subconscious false program or belief or incident or trauma that happens in their life, we can meet the emotion and guide the person to the emotion to release it. The Palladians help clear density with galactic energies, plasma, and other high vibrational equipment. It's very profound in the room. Wow. It's magic. It's like magic. It's so far. It's so far advanced for anyone to really comprehend how it works. But there's a few different parts to this, and of course it's the person that's wanting to do the healing. That's how they come. That's where they feel the call to come and do the session with us. Some people feel the session on the other end. They lay down, they close their eyes, and we talk to them the whole way. They feel sensations in their body. You know, they feel something tinkering in their like sacral energy center, for example, or they might see things with their own gifts and abilities. We're getting upgrades. So DNA is critical for our ascension. Okay.
Yeah.
So when we were born, we had 2 strands of DNA that were available to us as a baby in the mother's womb. When we're moving into 5D consciousness, we have to really look at 12 strands being fully activated. So people, you know, our consciousness has been low for a long time. So we're really slowly moving our human evolution, but now things are starting to speed up because all of the galactics are coming, and it's like a match. You light one match, all the matches go, right? And that's what's happening on this planet at this time. So the mission really is to get people aware of this galactic. We have people meeting their star family, their soul family, that, you know, that knowing that there's beings in the room. And then we're like, yep, that's Palladian guide. You've got Palladian family around you. They're the sky crew, you're the ground crew, etc., etc. And, you know, it's really profound because these people have known this their whole life. They've known
Inner
something.
knowing. Yeah.
They knew that there was something behind the veil, but they couldn't couldn't grasp it because the education wasn't there. It's all been hidden, and it's just the way the planet has moved, right, over time, and that's okay. It's just the storyline. And it's just interesting that people are just so, they're at peace when they find this information. They can relax all of a sudden. They go, oh, I'm not alone. Oh, I am loved. Oh, I felt different my whole life, and this is why. Oh, hallelujah. And all this stress goes from them, and it's just incredible. Like, the sessions are so powerful. And so we do that, and then we teach people that want to do this to take them. We teach them how to do what we do, going to the ship. And we've got a course coming up actually on the 26th of September. It's starting. And we do small group coaching sessions over 5 weeks, and we teach you the education, and then we implement the practice. So we take them to the ship, every lesson, every class. So it just is like, you know, riding a bike, because everyone has this potential to do this work. It's raise your vibration, do a bit of healing, be, you know, with that intention. And yeah.
So do you take people in, I'm quite curious, do you take people into like a bit of a trance state or a hypnotic state, or how do you get them to kind of switch on that level of connection?
Yeah, so it's all about their brain rhythm. So at the start of the session, we'll get them to relax and use love energy to get into their heart. Because a lot of people, they're finding out things outside of themselves to be happy and feel loved about. No one loves themselves anymore, right? That's a hard thing that we've been conditioned to do. And that's us learning this consciousness. So when we slow down the brain rhythms of anybody, we move in out of beta, which is the fast track, doing everything, scatterbrain state, into a synchronized brain rhythm, which slows down the brain and then the nervous system. And then we have heart-brain coherence starting to turn on, okay? And that's when the heart starts to open. So they don't need to be in a trance state for this. It's a natural brain rhythm state that we move into the alpha state. Because Pete and I are a little bit ahead in this realm, we are able to connect to their light body and take them into a gamma frequency, which is the quantum field state. Okay, so they might be able to get to the level. And like I said, some people get nothing. Some people feel sensations. Some people see the beings. Some people get messages while we're there, and all sorts of stuff. So it's really about learning that heart-brain coherence, slowing down the brain rhythms, because we're functioned to be achievers, you know, be distracted all the time about different things. And that's the beta state, constantly not in the heart. We're in beta thinking, right? I've got to do that, got to do this, got to clean the floor, got to make dinner, got to do this, what's tomorrow? No, it doesn't end, right? So when we slow down and take a moment, we start to listen, we start to connect, we start to feel energies around us. And that's the key, right?
That's amazing. So, and obviously you help them connect with their star family. I mean, I think, Roxy, you might have mentioned that your family is Pleiadian. I'm not sure. Pete, I assume you as well. I'm not sure. But so how do you connect? How do you, I mean, is it quite easy to understand who and where somebody's star family is from, given that there are so many different star races out there?
Yeah. So in session for me, it drops in when the person's ready for the information, it's given, right? We don't want to overwhelm someone.
Mm.
Someone's consciousness needs to be at a certain level to understand and this information. So whatever comes through in the energy in session from their higher self, our higher self, and the Pleiadians, this telepathic communication between all of us, because it's not just us doing anything, it's their higher self helping us understand what they need in the human body to understand, right? And so it's like the information will come through when it's ready. If it's not there, it won't come through. It'll just be, there won't be that information there about their galactic history. But most of the time in sessions now, the planet has elevated a bit more, that information's really coming through quite strongly for a lot of people that I'm doing. Yeah. How about you?
I would say too that the Pleiadian connection's so strong because Pleiadians seem to have this unique ability to be able to lower their vibration down closer to a human, so that and then assist us in bringing ours up. So it's like the Pleiadian is that first nexus, that meeting point of coming together. And I often see through a session, like a person, I always have the same 3 Pleiadians that come in when I start the session. It's always the same 3, and it's like they are just there as the healers. But as you go through the session, you might get Andromedan or Lyran or Syrian, and all these others start to come through as the person's vibrations gone up. And then all these other Pleiadians or Arcturians might come through as well. And the person might be getting a DNA activation. They might be getting some like let's say some sort of past life karmic entanglement undone, and they were just there because they had a sore back and they wanted to meditate deeper. Like often what the person thinks they're going into a session for is completely different to what you come out the other side. Like I often say, is there anything in particular you're after in the session? And I'm like, this, that, or the other. And then I'll go, well, let's just see what comes through too as well. And that's the exciting bit, because very often they go through this amazing thing, and once it's all done, the sore back's just them carrying burden, carrying the guilt they've been carrying their whole life. And it's more energetic, it's more emotional than it is physical. The physical is just a representation of their light body, their energy body being out of balance. And they go, oh my goodness, I've been carrying this burden, this shame, this pressure, this facade for so many years. It's like hard to carry this facade that I've got it all together, and that I'm a powerful man or a powerful woman. That little boy or girl deep inside feels shitting himself. No one finds out that I'm actually scared or that I actually don't have it all together, And that's what makes it real and right. You go in there and work on the heart-based stuff. And then the outside world, right, is a reflection of the inner world. When the inner's right, things outside the people can change very, very quickly.
Yeah, the higher vibration is the faster we can manifest, right? Things just start manifesting faster. And I heard Ishmael say something as well that I really resonate with as well. I mean, everyone's talking about opening the heart, which obviously is very needed on this planet because we've shut that down, and as a collective to a large extent. But he said it's also important that root chakra, to connect the two, because a lot of people don't heal that, and they can't open the heart if they haven't healed the root chakra. What is your opinion or viewpoint on that?
Yeah, that's on point. So when we did this work, we've got the 7 energy centers in our body. The lower 3 energy centers are the grounding energy centers, where we hold the root causes. So in the root chakra, you find survival, lack of, what else? Well, all the fears. Yeah. And so that's where that trauma lies. And then in the sacral, that's relationship, manifestation, creation. And if that's being blocked, you're not going to have good relationships, right? You're going to be fighting with people. You won't have very good wealth or management or manifestation, or just, you know, those beautiful abundant things, rewards that come in. And then in the solar plexus, which is the yellow chakra, that is the power, the self-image, the confidence. Some people are overstimulated in this energy center. You know, they're full of ego and they want to be the best and buy a bigger house and this big car, and using their force to hide the unhealed parts of themselves. Okay. And so the energy centers in the lower three, they have to be healed in order to open the heart. The heart's last, right? You can't force the heart. You have to be in a higher vibration. So we need to look at our energy centers, our vessel, as a water vase. Okay. You've got one water vase that's dirty water, which is the condition of your soul, all the trauma in it. And we're working to make it a crystalline water vase, clear, beautiful crystal water. That's when the heart is opening, the heart-brain coherence, the passageway to the top three energy centers. And then, of course, the crown is the antenna to the universal information, the wisdom, the knowledge, the high realms, the galactic beings, the galactic consciousness. So it's very important that we do the inner work, because you won't get to that level, right? You have to go back to school if you try to force it, you know, because a lot of people are using their head. Using their head and thinking that they're connecting. But there's going to come to a point where the trauma is going to just keep showing up, right? And it's going to get painful. It's going to get so loud you can't ignore it anymore, right? And that's why we have to help each other, be educated around this, because we don't want people feeling depressed and miserable, right? That's going to it's a long road out of that. So the more education we can even bring through the schools, or, you know, the beautiful thing at this time of the Great Awakening is we've got the internet. You know, without this internet, we couldn't share education. Like, we couldn't post and have these conversations and meet you all the way across the other side of the world. So everything's lining up divinely, and we all just have to trust that this is going in the right direction and not worry about anything. Don't try and put movies into the future or keep playing on the past. We stay in the now moment and trust that the divine has everything sorted out. Take the hands off the wheel and not use our force anymore, right? And that's how we're going to evolve as a collective together.
Absolutely. Pete, you also mentioned something earlier, you know, being in that 3D everyday life. Those are our tests, right? Are we going to remain this new person that we've unraveled in ourselves when we're in the 3D world, or are we going to get frustrated and irritated and you know, I call it like purity of thought. You have to be so pure in your thought. You've got to banish all those negative emotions. And I've actually tested it, you know. Normally when I would get irritated when you know, somebody cuts me off in traffic, or, you know, somebody's just mean to you, how are you going to respond? Are you going to get angry, or are you just going to accept it with grace and send them love? And for me, it's a really good exercise, you know, in starting to truly live that awakening in the 3D world, and not just when you're at home and you're on your own and you can work on those things.
It was pretty heavy here in Australia when COVID was deep, and the rules everywhere for wearing masks and all this sort of thing.
And people were very hectic. I mean, your mask is just under your nose and they would like get
full on here, you know. And so go and do the groceries was like, oh my gosh, you know, because I don't want to wear that thing. In me, it's like, this is a whole lot of bull, doesn't align with truth. I'm not a sheep, I'm not a follower. So I'd be walking around the grocery store like, on defense, right? Like if someone says something, I'm going to say, well, you should wake up. You're a sheep, you know,
Oh,
you're not
yeah.
even wearing it properly. And, you know, I was in that state.
Yeah.
And I remember after meditation one day, I was having to go do some groceries, and I was in this state where it was like, I'm so exhausted today. I just don't know if I've got the energy to go in here and there's a security guard and the whole thing. Or maybe I'll just wear the rotten mask, right? Nearly swore then, but yeah, I'll just wear the rotten mask. And anyway, I was like, I can't do it. I'm not wearing it. And I left it in the car. And as I was walking to that door, I just had this knowing come over me. It was like this voice of, forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. It was like, all of a sudden I went in there, and instead of, if someone says something, I'm gonna blah, whatever, I just felt myself feel for them. I could feel all of their emotions. There was the goody two shoes who's the real follower and just wants to do whatever they're told by authority. And then I could feel the emotion of the person who's actually really scared. Oh, they're shitting themselves. They got the sanitary this, and they're putting a plastic bag over the handle of their cart, and you know, like, there's the ones who are actually scared, and then there's the ones who just the real followers, and then there's the other ones who don't believe it, but they're too weak to stand up. So they're the ones with the mask. It's not even on properly. It's kind of sitting on their chin, and it's like, what the hell, man? It's not even doing anything but stand up. But instead of me being like, I just could feel it all. And I was the big tall guy with the smile walking down the aisle, little old lady scurrying out of the way as I smiled at him. But it didn't upset me at all. I was in that next stage of just, forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. And I found that instead of it being a draining experience to go out into 3D, I don't know if you've ever had that. You come home from the mall or the shopping center or something. Oh, that's hard work. I feel everyone's energies. Roxy used to say it all the time. It's like hard work to be out in public. All of a sudden, I found it easy, and because I was expressing
manage
my
your own
natural
energy and your own emotion and mind.
Yeah, and it's remained now, and I feel like I've been like that for quite some time. So don't get me wrong, I still get triggered, but I'm getting better and better at whenever I get triggered by someone, I go, why did that happen? What is it in me that's unhealed that's causing me to get triggered by that? Because if it wasn't in me, they could have cut me off in traffic and I just would have let them in. Not a problem. You can slide in, no problem. So if I'm like, look at this jerk, I go, well, what's that? Is that an issue with whatever it could be, control, or is it to do with, you know, et cetera, et cetera? And your awareness goes up of self. And when you're in that state, you get better at it. The more you do it, the better you get at working out what your causal emotions are quickly. You go, oh, there it is. You know, I'm upset with this person because they're late, but underneath that is disrespect. No message, no letting me know. They don't respect me. Oh, what's that link back to? Oh, gosh, that goes to when I was a child. Oh, yeah, that's right. This thing, that thing. And you go to it, and all of a sudden, next time someone's like, you don't care less. It doesn't matter at all, right? Because you've worked through that. So we do this as a couple all the time. Like our conversations, some people just like, can't believe it. Because everything happens for a reason. Someone doesn't turn up, they cancel this, they do that. If there's any sort of disruption in our life, what's it trying to show us?
Yeah, exactly. Nothing happens by accident. And even, you know, for those people, I find even having compassion for them, because, you know that they are angry or they like this because of some unhealed wound. And if you can just have a little bit of compassion for them and think, you know, it's okay. They went through a lot. They've had a lot of trauma. I can see that, you know, they're not in a good place. And suddenly the picture changes. It's like completely changes. It goes from anger to complete compassion and understanding and contentment.
Yeah, and realizing that they are just babies learning consciousness like we were once, right? We were all asleep. Like we were very asleep. You know, we were in our own life. We'd, you know, walk in a room and not see or feel anyone's energy. Now we walk in a room, it's a full different experience. It's like incredible how multidimensional this consciousness gets, right?
Yeah.
How much you see now.
Yeah.
Yeah, super
To the point,
exciting.
even I walk into a room and I can tell where people are from. And when you feel open enough to have this conversation, I would say to somebody, "You're from the Pleiades, right? And you're from Lyra." And they were like, "How did you know?" which is really funny. Um, yeah, I think, the big thing is us starting to understand or manage our emotions and our energy, managing our energy so that we don't get drained when we're in certain environments, and we don't get negative forces coming in, when we can manage this energy field around us. I used to get very drained when I go to the mall, because somebody said to me once, I'm a generator, so I give energy to the room. But I would just feel completely drained when I go to the mall. It's like, what is this? It's like everyone has just taken a little bit of my energy, and at the end of it, I just have to lie down. But when you learn how to manage your energy, it becomes much easier. So somebody can't necessarily train or take or drain from you. Which is fascinating. I wanted to ask you something now, and I've forgotten. I completely went off train of my thought. Yeah, I think, it's, all this stuff that we're learning now and that you have learned is everything that we were meant to learn as children, as young adults, but have been withheld from us. So it's like going back to school, right? And relearning this ancient wisdom that we were always meant to carry and know. So it's quite interesting for me seeing how we all have to go back to that wisdom school, as I call it. And I just wish that they taught us that stuff in school instead of all the false history and stuff that we were taught.
Yeah, we hope to in the future see all of this in schools. Should really be part of the curriculum, because the child's brain is such a soft, delicate blank canvas at school, right? We see it in our kids. The conditioning, that school starts at this time, you have to sit on the carpet here, do as someone says, there's a lot of control in the school being programmed at the very beginning. And the teachers are beautiful, don't get me wrong, they're just doing their job. But it's just conditioning that is the worry for the younger generations. And these kids, they're coming through so much more high vibrational now. More DNA strands are coming on for them than there was for us, right? So they're coming in. And like our son Xavier and Harley, they listen to some of our music now. Since we came back from Costa Rica, we've got all tribe music and beautiful singing, loving music now. And they know all the words. And we've helped program that into them. So that's natural. We were listening to the radio the other day, and some of the kids, what the other kids were listening to, and we were like, holy moly, like that is not good. That frequency coming in. And like my eyebrows are just like, because it's just so foreign to us now, because we've come so far in consciousness. It's like, whoa, what are you saying? Like the words have a frequency with it. It's putting pollution on the planet, essentially. So we have to be really careful how we're speaking and how this vibration is coming out of us. So it's a positive charge rather than a negative charge. And so it's programming someone, it's delivering a healthy, positive program to someone's field, right? Yeah.
Everything is cause and effect. What we speak, what we think, what we feel, what we do, it's all cause and effect.
Yeah.
But it's wonderful starting to see the layers of the onion coming undone and discovering the truth. It's quite enlightening. Yeah. So do you feel like for your own awakening, that experience in Costa Rica was absolutely essential? Or do you think you would have done it another way if that experience never happened?
I think it's a little bit like climbing a mountain. You know, there's different ways to get to the top of the mountain, you know, and you can walk the smooth, long path. You can walk the steeper, more direct, rocky path, which is, you know, more difficult, but you still get there eventually. Or you can get in a slingshot and get flung to the top of the mountain. And I feel like that's what Oscar does. You know, you lose, you have no option
And it
other
could be
than
a rough landing.
yeah, it makes you face your stuff, right? And it does it powerfully, and
Cracks you wide open.
yeah, cracks you open. And there were a number of people there, you know, who were doing the whole experience with us, and everyone purges their emotional things differently. Thank goodness mine was reasonably pleasant, just some tears and some, you know, tossing and turning, and, you know, some really confronting memories coming up and that I had to deal with. But yeah, I don't think since then, I think I've cried more in the last 3 years than probably in the last 20 put together. Because my heart is just open again. You know, I took my heart wall down, connected back with my inner child, merged back with my soul, saw where I split at 5 years of age, again when I was in my mother's womb. And like went to all of that. And then of course, you know, the experiences of, you know, I had my first marriage and I got divorced, and I saw how that affected my 3 daughters, and it like showed me all of the emotions of them. Like, it's very brutal and direct, but at the end of it, you see the infinite creator in everything. You realize, oh my gosh, that so-called trauma at 5 was a blessing. That so-called failed marriage was a blessing.
Yeah.
It's all got me to this point where now I'm having an awakening. I'm the man I am. I'm the father I am. I've got 5 beautiful children, and it's all for a reason. And all of a sudden, you know yourself intimately. You love yourself dearly, but then you see the infinite creator in everything. And as Ra wrote in The Law of One, when it was channeled in through that wonderful work in the 80s about the way to heal a soul, the way to move and to graduate through your lifetime is to know yourself, love yourself, and then see the infinite creator in it all. If you can get to that level of 500 on David Hawkins' scale of consciousness, which is the level of love, then your soul graduates. You move on to the next stage of your evolution of consciousness. So once you've been there, once you've peeled back the veil and seen behind the matrix, you realize whenever the TV news is showing us the news, that is calibrating way down low at like 150. Fear, monkeypox, or there's a new strain, and there's a this and a that, and oh my goodness, the ship's moving off Taiwan, and they're constantly keeping people in fear. You know, and then at the end of the news, I might go, oh yeah, and there's a cat up a tree and it jumped down and it was all happy, thinking that balances it out, but it's rubbish. It's like all day long, fear, 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 be scared, be on alert. No wonder people are suffering more from mental health issues than at any time before, even though our life's supposed to be so much easier now with all our devices and technologies. We're more stressed than ever, right? So we're just disconnected from self.
That's how they keep us suppressed. But it's so true what you say, Pete, and I think especially for men, it's so important because men really struggle with, you know, opening their heart and getting back in touch and reconnecting with themselves. Especially today, I think it's a big problem. It's amazing that you've been able to do that and be able to share that with other men.
Yeah, I always wondered whether I was normal or not, and now I know that I'm not, and I just don't care. It's like, you know what, I don't care.
What is normal anyway?
Oh, you're off with the fairies. It's like, whatever, you know. You know, you buy another car, get another house, do another deal, and then see if you're happy. You won't be. I know.
No,
Look, you're looking for
absolutely.
something outside yourself, not
Yeah.
the answer.
Yeah, I did that whole rat race thing also for many years. And, deep inside, I knew that it wasn't who I was, but I felt somehow I needed to prove something. I needed to be successful. I needed to, drive the luxury car and have everything and the respect. And, you think that is necessary. And then you realize, my gosh, I'm burnt out and I've completely lost touch with myself. And it does nothing for me. These people don't care about me one bit. They're only your friends, or they're only following you because they want to see what they can get out of it, because they want to heal their own unhealed wounds. And it becomes this whole cycle and this hamster wheel, and we just keep going. And it's like, got to get off this wheel now fast. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
So like you say, it's like when you've made mentally that shift, although my physical shift has been slower on the surface from what people perceive, mentally, when you make that shift and you have that awakening, you cannot go back. And it's like, I just, everything in that 3D life suddenly didn't resonate with me anymore. And yeah, it's amazing, that awakening. And hopefully we can help more people, cross that bridge and be that bridge for them. I said to somebody the other day, I think I'm meant to be a bridge, and I was meant to have that other experience so that those people can identify with my journey, and I can be that bridge for them to the other side. Because if I was just love and light for the last 20, 30 odd years, it's difficult for people on the other side to connect with that. It's like, so you can show them, I was where you were, but there's something better. Let me show you. Let me take you across the bridge and show you the other side. This beautiful, multi-dimensional world that we were meant to live in.
It's just the beginning. It's going to be so amazing this lifetime for everybody. Everyone's
so
going to feel
excited
it.
that all of this is happening in our lifetime. What an honor. Eh? What an extraordinary time to be alive.
Yeah, I agree.
So what's next on the journey for you once you accomplish your current goal? Do you know, or is it just unfolding? Is it an unfolding for you?
It's unfolding. It's like everything is coming more in the now moment than ever before. We can't plan or do anything in the distance. That's not the instructions from above. It's like we'll know when we know what we're doing. But I guess for us is just to have a balanced life and enjoy the human experience, enjoy the creation of our life and the kids, seeing them grow up as consciousness as well, and evolve their own journey in this human way, and just try and inspire and guide as many souls out of the darkness as we can, but all in balance. There's nothing. We want to have a peaceful, fun, flowing life as well, and really enjoy this human physical experience, because once we ascend, the transition, we're moving up into energy. We're moving into our crystalline body and then energy, and back up through the dimensions. And this is profound, this human experience. We came here for the mission because it's like, yes, front row seats, but also the joy and the bliss of being human, but in the right frequency. And that's the magic. That's enjoying this physical experience, enjoying relationships, and sharing food with family and friends and laughs. It's about having fun and tapping into that frequency of fun and not taking it all so seriously. So yeah,
I think that's very important, because that brings the joy, right? And that's also a very important component of this new vibration. And a lot of people forget about that. They just kind of live in that world, and They forget that you're still in this human body. You need to enjoy it. You need to feel and this human experience and the joy and the happiness that it can give you, which is so
Yeah, and not take it so seriously. Like when we go to the shift, there's like serious business, yes, but then there's a lot of fun happening and jokes, and they're just
It's got a sense of humor. Like
sense
high
of humor.
vibrational consciousness has got a sense of humor. It's really nice.
It's fun.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And you know, that
amazing.
makes sense. I love you use the word joy, because joy calibrates very highly to 500 as well.
Mm.
And so when you're in that state of joy and happiness that you mentioned, you know, that's love, right? They're right up around those high calibrational frequencies. So my suggestion to anyone watching this, if they were thinking, what can I take away from it? It's always be really aware of your vibration, and as best you can, keep your vibration high. So associate with people who are high vibrational, listen to things that are high vibrational music, watch educational, motivational, inspirational type information feeding into your brain, doing things with your physical body, eating things that are high vibrational to keep your vibrational state as high as possible. Now, I love the saying, you know, the rising tide lifts all of the boats.
Mm.
If more and more of us were high vibrational, that ripple effect would just bring the average vibration of the planet right up together. So
Absolutely.
that's sort of part of our goal as well, to have that ripple effect on consciousness, helping everyone to, you know, elevate together.
Yeah, I think that's our most important job right now, just elevating the frequency of the planet and just being, being at that high vibration already does a big job in just raising the collective vibration. Wonderful. That has been so much fun chatting to you. Is there anything that you want to leave with the audience? Where can they find you? Any interesting projects apart from the course that you have coming up?
Yeah, well, they can find us on our website and come and connect, obviously, at www.awakening.education. And we're on YouTube as Pete and Roxy, and Instagram. We're all over the place. So, yeah, come and connect with us. We'd love to hear from you. And, yeah, if there's anything that we can help with, of course, reach out and let us know. Yeah.
Wonderful. Now I'm going to leave links for your channels in the description. And this was so much fun. I'm excited to have a look at your course as well, which I think sounds absolutely fabulous. And hopefully we can have another follow-up conversation at some point as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're actually next week we're going to the Cosmic Consciousness Expo conference, which is in Norfolk Island, which many believe is on the same grid line as Lumeria was.
Oh, wow.
And there's going to be a whole lot of different activations, and we're visiting some sacred sites, doing some really cool stuff with them. And we're doing a presentation for them on how the Schumann resonance and the solar flares impacting the Earth at the moment are also affecting the collective, and how that side of it is influencing consciousness as well. So yeah, look, if you're interested in having us back, we can go right into that sort of great information.
I would love to talk about that. I feel like we have so much more to talk about, and the humans have been off the hook for the last 8 days. And the solar flares and all the photonic light coming in. It's so exciting. So definitely want to do a follow-up with that information.
Sounds good.
Love to. Righto.
Wonderful. Well, enjoy it. It sounds magical.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Get some activations, I feel, that's coming for us. It's always exciting.
Amazing. Wish I could be there.
Yeah.
We'll usually they do these once a year in Australia, actually. So if you feel like coming to visit the brother and sister-in-law in Brisbane, often they do it at Uluru in the centre of Australia, which is one of the energy centres of the planet. and they run their Cosmic Consciousness conference there. And from what I've heard, because I have never been to Uluru, to the centre of Australia, Roxy has, but the energy of the place is apparently just has this presence, and some of the sacred sites that they take you to, and these different beautiful connecting to Pachamama, Mother Earth, meditations and rituals that you go through are really quite profound. So I think you would love that, actually.
Yeah.
It sounds very good. And to be honest, I haven't visited them in Brisbane, as crazy as that sounds, because there's so much family here, so they always come here. But that may just get me motivated to go over next year.
Yes, that's it. Well, you've got the channel now, and you're doing all of this work. So you know, it's a business expense going to Australia to connect in with like-minded humans. You can come on over.
Yeah.
More reasons to go.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. You come to the Sunshine Coast, have a cup of tea. It'll be perfect.
Yeah, I look forward. Sounds like a plan.
Okay.
Well, thank you, guys. It was an absolute delight having you and talking about this very important subject matter. And I hope to chat to you soon again.
No worries. Thank you.
So much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. We'll talk to you later. See ya.
Speak to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.